On September 11, 2001, the world watched in horror as the Twin Towers fell, the Pentagon burned, and nearly 3,000 lives were lost. The official narrative points to al-Qaeda terrorists, but for decades, some have questioned whether there's more to the story. Today, we explore the controversial theory that 9/11 was an inside job, a claim that challenges everything we've been told. Let's dive into the arguments, the evidence, and the questions that fuel this debate. The official report, released by the 9/11 Commission in 2004, concluded that 19 hijackers, orchestrated by Osama bin Laden, carried out the attacks. But skepticism arose almost immediately. Why? For some, it's the scale of the event. How could a small group pull off such a coordinated attack? For others, it's unanswered questions about the physics, the timeline, and the government's response. Proponents of the inside job theory argue that elements within the US government or other powerful groups may have orchestrated or allowed the attacks to justify political agendas, like wars in the Middle East or expanded surveillance. One of the most cited arguments is the collapse of the Twin Towers in World Trade Center Building 7. Critics point out that the towers fell at near freefall speed, resembling controlled demolitions. Building 7, which wasn't hit by a plane, collapsed later that day in a way some engineers say defies physics for a fire-induced failure. Groups like architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth argue that explosives, possibly thermite, were used. They point to molten metal found at the site and eyewitness reports of explosions before the collapses. The official report attributes the collapses to fire and structural damage, but skeptics ask, could fires alone cause such uniform destruction? Then there's the Pentagon and Flight 93. The Pentagon was struck by Flight 77, but some question why the damage, a 75-foot hole, was so small for a Boeing 757. Photos show minimal debris, leading some to speculate it was a missile, not a plane. The official explanation cites the plane's high-speed impact and disintegration. Similarly, Flight 93's crash in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, left a debris field that some say is too sparse for a commercial airliner. Skeptics argue these inconsistencies suggest a cover-up, though defenders of the official narrative say the physics of high-speed crashes explain the evidence. Another key claim is that the government had foreknowledge. Declassified documents show warnings about al-Qaeda planning attacks, yet no significant action was taken. Some point to military exercises on 9/11, like NORAD's drills simulating hijackings, as suspiciously timed. Theorists argue these could have been used to confuse the response. They also suggest motives, the Patriot Act, increased surveillance, and wars in Afghanistan and Iraq followed 9/11, benefiting political and economic interests. Critics of the theory counter that incompetence, not conspiracy, explains any failures. Not everyone buys the inside job theory. The 9/11 Commission report, NIST investigations, and independent studies support the official narrative. They argue that conspiracy theories rely on selective evidence and ignore the complexity of the attacks. Still, the persistence of these questions reflects distrust in institutions. Whether you see 9/11 as a tragic failure of intelligence or something more sinister, the debate forces us to ask, what do we really know, and who do we trust to tell us? The 9/11 inside job theory remains controversial, unproven, and deeply divisive. But it's a reminder to question narratives, seek truth, and honor the lives lost by staying curious. What do you think? Dig into the evidence, share your thoughts, and keep the conversation alive. Thanks for watching.